Cool. So just for keepsake as well, just so we can, when we watch back, we can make notes on it and that sort of thing. Obviously, the channel, just an introduction to anyone that's watching this the first time, new to the channel, new to us at Protesters. The idea is that it's no hidden information. We all work together. We all share resources, share lists, share ideas. There's a huge scale of ability from Pinsel and Chris Dyer through down to people who've only been playing a month or so. And it's, some people want to teach the game and give something back, and some people want to get better, and some people want to win store championships, and some people just want to make friends. So it's a really great sort of community between us, about 55 of us now. So I'm joined by Laura, who's known as the Queen of Argus, best Argus player in the world.
Hello.
In most people's opinion.
The funny thing is, my husband played Argus for years before I started playing it. So.
Okay. So is that how you got into playing Argus? Was that through him?
I guess so. I guess I sort of just left it to him while he was playing Netrunner, and then when he stopped playing Netrunner, I thought, maybe I'll give this a try.
Yeah, sure. Nice.
Before that, I was mostly NBN.
Okay. Were you sort of acid decks? Were you fast drive?
Yeah, I mean, I loved the boom sync decks, not the railgun one, but just the 24/7.
Yeah.
Boom deck. That was a fun one.
Nice. So you just like killing people, basically.
Well, only if they, stop me from scoring out.
Yeah, sure. And I suppose that's really the sort of backstory to this deck, isn't it? Is that there's a danger that if they put a foot wrong, you kill them. If they get in the way of your fast score, you kill them, and then otherwise you're jamming and scoring.
Yes, honestly, I think I win more games by scoring with Argus than I do by kill. But the threat of the kill is what lets you score.
Yeah, sure. So any particular sort of highlight cards that you think are unique in your Argus list? And it's Argus list at the top seems to be quite similar, unless someone's doing something a bit wacky.
I don't think there's anything particularly unique. Spiderweb was kind of a last-minute change. I had Tithonium in there before, and that was probably more unique. But when Paperclip was not restricted anymore, and everyone has Paperclip in their deck, Tithonium stock went down. So
yeah, makes sense. Aside from that, you talked about your switch. You were talking to me yesterday, and you said about your switch from 2 Hortum, 1 Afshar to 1 Hortum, 2 Afshar. Can you just go over that a little bit?
Well, Afshar is just so good against Anarchs, especially on HQ. The downside of it is the 1 strength versus the 4 strength, so it's harder to purge out Namakoa. But I think the meta wasn't leaning hard into Turtle as much lately. So
no, you don't see as many of them recently, do you? Especially with all the sandbox around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I'm just going to send a message to Havvy and see if he's ready for a game.
Okay. It's been interesting seeing people playing Sandbox instead of Oaktown Renovation. I love Oaktown Renovation so much that I haven't even considered Sandbox, but
and it's weird as a one-off, I think.
Yeah,
with
I don't
no
love it
CVS. But
the only nice thing I see is that you can, bluff it. You can install it face down and bluff it as something else, where obviously with Oaktown you can't. But
no, sure. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, having Oaktown face up? I mean, arguably, it's a good thing. Sometimes you want them to run through scary ice, don't you?
Yeah, that's true. It's situational. If you're trying to squeak out your last 2 points, then probably sandbox is better. But I mean, that fast track that's there in the deck, I use it for Oaktown very frequently because it's just such a great first agenda to roll out there.
So you'd actually use the fast track early in the game?
Yes. Yep, I would use the fast track early. Because the worst thing that can happen to you as Argus is not drawing agendas when you want to be jamming agendas.
Yeah. No, sure, I get that. Right.
Yeah.
I think
The audacity is for the end of the game. The audacity, I think you asked that yesterday, and like you hardly ever use the audacity unless it's the win. But the fast track I use, I'm happy to use that early.
Okay. You said with the audacity, you said the only time you thought you might ever use the audacity not to win would be to get an Atlas or an Atlas counter.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes getting that extra Atlas counter is better than all the cards in your hand. So.
No, sure, makes perfect sense. Right. Should we get started in the game?
Okay, so should I be watching it in JNet or here in Discord? I don't know how the technical side of this all works.
To be honest, you can watch it in JNet if you want. I've got screen share on. Hopefully that's working. I don't know whether you're chatting through or whether you wanted to watch silently. Entirely up to you.
Happy to chat for now, but my kids will wake up pretty soon, so then I might have to leave pretty suddenly.
No, of course. Right. So let's start. Can you see my screen share? Is that all working okay?
I can. Yep, I can see that.
Right. And let me do that. That's the wrong one. Get the other window. And we'll go like that. Cool. Right. So the first thing we need to remember is that JNet's got a little bug at the moment with keeps and moles. So if we want to keep this, then we need to type close prompt, just in case we do that accidentally or without thinking.
Oh, interesting.
So we're looking at 2 ice, too big to fail. I think that's a mole because we don't want the audacity yet. We don't want the HPT yet.
Yeah, that's a tough thing because two ice and an econ is pretty great, but you can certainly do a lot better than that hand. So.
Yeah, let's go for it. There's the mole. Press keep to mole.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a little tricky, but
yeah,
you can see what happens.
Yeah.
I think if you draw an ice, you're in great shape.
Yes.
And also, let's see, I should switch back to this window here. I started looking at it in JNet, but I don't want to see the runner's hand.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, actually, yeah.
Give anything away.
Yeah, I think we've got real issues here if we don't draw an ice. But do we score the hostile? So we don't draw an ice. I suppose it's entirely dependent on what we do draw instead, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's dependent on what you draw. Let's see.
Right, let's think through some options here, if I may. Put Rashida in the remote with a price deck on it.
I agree, but my thought is maybe draw first.
Sure.
And then put those down. Okay, because now
that goes on HQ.
So the Raven almost always goes on the remote.
Yeah.
I think I would still want the Rashida out, but maybe consider the Raven instead of the Prysac to protect it.
And just leave the centrals open.
Yes.
Against, okay.
Or maybe putting the Rashida and the Prysac down is better, because then that's one fewer trashable card in your hand.
Yes, that was sort of my thought.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go for that. It looks confident as a start as well.
Yes.
And then that's Prysac there.
Yeah, so they know the Prysac. So now I think the fun thing about Argus is forcing them to make hard decisions. So now they already have to decide what they want to do about that.
Yeah, sure. What other options did we have there? You said putting the Data Raven on the remote with the Rashida behind. I mean,
yes, but you don't really want to res the Raven and go down to 1 credit. So I think the Prysac is probably better. I guess the other option would just be scoring the hostile out of hand instead of drawing.
yeah.
But, I don't know. This will be interesting.
It's not a great start. It's not a great start.
It's not great, but it's not terrible, honestly. I think this is fine.
No.
Obviously we don't know what's going to happen this turn, but a kind of a good goal for next turn could be putting the Raven on the remote and install and advancing the Oaktown.
Yeah. So,
that would kind of be the goal, but obviously it depends on what they do here.
And the other thing is, if we're firing Rashida, we're drawing 3 more cards. That would bring us
Yeah,
to
then you have to discard 2.
Yeah. It's a concern for Argus Stargate turn 1, turn 2.
It is a concern, but that's another reason why it's good that you have the Raven in hand. So that if they were to play Stargate and Stargate right now, they would have invested a lot into R&D, and you can just play the Raven and then.
Yeah. So there's 14 ice in this deck, am I right in saying?
I think it's 14, yeah.
That sounds about right. I've got it there. Just while waiting, I know they'll be talking through theirs potentially a little bit more.
Yeah, I think runner decisions are so much harder.
So much harder, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 14.
14. And the fact is, they've got to steal 4 agendas. Am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Yes. The Wargs have to steal 4.
So if they ping one off at the start, worse things have happened. 60% here. Hey.
Hey, nice.
HQ health.
Really, the only thing I'd be really sad about losing there would be the Oaktown.
Yeah. Let's get that sheet up. Right.
A lot of goodies.
Oh, this is interesting.
So you still only have 1 ice.
Yeah. We can't draw again now, though, can we? We'd lose too much. We've got too much good stuff in hand. And there's no recursion in this list, is there?
Pardon me?
There's no recursion in the list, is there?
No recursion at all.
My instinct's still Data Raven on remote, but then I.
Yeah, I think I'd do the Rashida instead of the Oaktown.
Yes.
Because then you can also play the IPO.
Yeah. And then we're losing one less. Yeah.
Yeah. The discard choice is hard.
I'm looking at this chappy here. Can we lose a hostile?
I'm kind of thinking Econ Warfare, even though that hurts.
Yeah.
But,
just to note as well, they've got MK Ultra in the bin.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a tough call. I think I'd probably discard Econ Warfare, but I think there's an argument for discarding any of those, really.
Yeah, sure.
Except the Oaktown.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Let's lose Econ Warfare. That just feels bad. To me, it feels bad when they've got MK as their Sentry Breaker. They're going to be spending a lot of money to get into the remote.
Yeah, honestly, they're probably just going to let Data Raven fire and pay through the trace.
Yeah, sure. I've got Clippy in the bin now as well. Well, that's less of an issue for us, isn't it?
Not as much of an issue currently since we don't have any other ice.
No, that's a very fair point. So you said you were interested in this matchup, Hoshiko versus Argus. What is it that makes it an interesting matchup, do you think?
I think it's favored for Argus, so it's kind of fun to play as Argus, but also I tend to play Reg Anarch. So also I just enjoy trying to work out how to play it from the runner side too.
Yeah.
Because despite the fact that I play a lot of Argus, I wouldn't say that I'm like an expert in playing against it.
Right, really?
I still lose to Argus plenty.
Why do you think that is? Is it just because Argus does stuff and sometimes you lose to it?
Yeah, I think so. I think sometimes you just guess wrong. Sometimes you just have to make the right call on, is that are they going for an Atlas with 2 counters, or are they going for an NGO front? And do they have the punishment in hand or not? And sometimes you're just wrong.
Yeah, no, of course. So I think they're digging for Stargate here.
I do not think they're rich enough to challenge to do Stargate. What do they have? 9 credits?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what else they're looking for.
Econ, really. They need to get some econ going, I think. They can't really challenge much of anything with just 9 credits, so.
Yeah. Sad Stug, good evening. No, shy.
They're on mute.
I'm working, so I'm only sort of pinged.
Oh, okay.
Oh, fun.
We've got a race here, haven't we?
Yep.
End run. Well,
That's nice. You're going to get that Rashida.
and we're just praying for ice here, aren't we?
Pardon me?
We're praying for ice here, really, aren't we?
Yeah, at this point, it would be nice to have a second ice.
Yeah. Do you think at that point we can start jamming? Or are we looking for border control as well?
I think we should definitely start jamming.
No, worse things have happened.
They're probably not super thrilled to steal a hostile takeover on last click.
No.
What did we hit? Ice Carver, Amakoa. That's good.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Rashida.
Oh, yeah. Janet's going to shout at me now. I'm used to it. It's like 3 times a day. I get told off by Janet. Have we still not found ice?
Nope.
Right.
So I think we need to start jamming anyway.
Atlas.
Either Atlas or Oaktown. I'm tempted to do the Oaktown just to kind of keep, but you don't have any ice on HQ, so maybe that's too risky.
To me, Atlas feels right because.
Yeah, go for the Atlas.
Yeah. We go 1 and too big to fail.
You are too rich to play, too big to fail.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry. Yes. Right, there we go. And then we lose NGO.
I guess we have to. Sad though.
We need both of those. They're
Yeah.
going to clog up our hand for the rest of the game, aren't they? Having 2 of them.
Yeah, I'd probably discard one of them and the NGO,
No.
and we might lose because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. This feels rough.
Mm-hmm.
How many cards have we seen so far? We've seen 15 cards and we've seen 1 ice.
Yeah. I wonder if we should have gone for an agenda instead of the second Rashida, but we were hoping to get ice from the second Rashida. So.
Yeah. Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. We also don't have hard-hitting news yet, which is a shame.
Yeah, it'd be helpful, wouldn't it? Just to slow them down, I presume. So, install something in server 1, Econ Warfare, hard-hitting news. Or do we say
because if they come for this Atlas, they're going to end pretty poor after clearing tags.
Yes. Is it the worst thing in the world if they steal it? How bad is it?
If they steal it and we can't punish them, then that's pretty bad.
Sure. Yeah.
They're not coming for it. They're installing things.
Yeah.
It's the fear.
And they've lost a hippo. How relevant is hippo in this matchup?
It can be, but they're not really in a position to use it right this minute. So.
No. So
I'm sure that's not what they wanted to hit out of their hand, though.
I'm sure it's not what they wanted to hit. No. So I've been playing. You said a Reg Anarch player. I've been playing a lot of Reg Val at the moment. I'm finding it very intuitive to play. More so than Hoshiko, because you've got clear linear goals. You want econ, you want cards, and you want a charge turning wheel. Get your brakes in the bin with 0 and patchwork out other things. Patchwork out your econ.
I've been playing. So actually, I haven't played much since Worlds, but in Worlds, I played an APOC Val, and that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
I had been for months testing a reg Hoshiko that just wasn't getting there for me.
Okay.
I just felt like I was losing too many games that I should have won. But then I didn't do that great with APOC Val during Worlds, so I don't know.
What do you think was the best? I mean, what won? Why didn't you play Geist? Shout out to Pencil.
I've never played Geist. I
No.
don't really know how to play Geist, and I like to play what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, sure.
I tested a little bit of Leela, but it's just not my style. So,
And I think Leela surprised a lot of people at Worlds with poor performance, really, didn't it?
yeah. I thought the big risk of bringing Argus to Worlds was that I would have to play against a lot of Leela, but I didn't have to play a single round versus Leela, so that was pretty nice. I played against 4 Geists and 0 Leelas. Nice, they can be scared.
We're quite happy that they've seen that, aren't we?
Yes, yeah, the fear.
Yeah. So is that something that you find? I mean, you said you're not, you whether you're exaggerating or not, you said you find it quite hard to play against Argus. Do you find it easy to put yourself in the runner position? It's something that I'm trying to learn to do more, is put myself in the other person's position. And I think here, this looks awful, but they might be sitting there thinking they've got Econ Warfare, they've got NGO in the remote, they're waiting to drag me through Data Raven, and then they're going to go Econ Warfare harder to use.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think from their position, they're probably afraid.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, they should have contested this remote click 1, but
yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
I think the fact that you're going to get this Atlas is huge.
Yes.
Hey, it's a nice.
I like ice. I think most of this. So we're not going to be greedy here. We're just going to take one agenda counter on this, aren't we?
I think so.
Yeah. And more stuff on HQ, please.
It's a tough call because they've hit HQ a few times and haven't seen anything. So we're kind of making it look like
it makes
HQ
them want to run it.
Clear, And if they put down a Stargate, if we put the Mausolus on HQ and they put down a Stargate, that's bad.
That's real bad times for them. Yeah.
I think I'd maybe put the Mausolus on R&D. Because one of those agendas is going in the remote next turn anyway.
No, of course. This game's stressful enough already. You're just making it worse for me. Right. Go on. I'll go with you. I'm terrified now.
I think the fact that we've gotten lucky a couple times on HQ means they might think that there's not much there.
Yeah.
And especially by putting the ice on R&D, we're sending that message even a little more.
Yeah, and the fact that turn 1 we iced server 1 with a Rashida rather than icing a Central was a display of power, if nothing else.
And hopefully by next turn, we'll draw something that's not an agenda and we'll put the Oaktown in the remote. And then there's just one, then the agenda density in HQ is just 1 in 5. So.
Yeah. And then we're happy leaving HQ open. Are we?
Also, we have an Atlas counter now, so they're going to be more afraid of running.
Yeah. They know we've got fast track in this deck as well.
Okay, they're not afraid of running.
All right. Looks like. So, someone said to me, Tolasin said and sticks by that you should always play as if you've got 2 Econ Warfare and a Heart in use in hand. I've accessed 2 econ warfares now.
Yeah. I keep missing things. I didn't notice that they played the Amakoa first. Interesting.
So next turn, as said, again, obviously dependent on what we draw, but it looks to me like we Oak Town in the remote. Advance 1 and too big to fail while we can.
I like to save too big to fail until I need it.
Right. Okay.
If you put the Oak Town in the remote, you don't really need the money from too big to fail. Interesting. Yeah, this is great.
Really great.
Mm-hmm.
What did they lose?
Oh, nice.
Mining
That's a good
accident.
hit.
I'll take that. Take that. And they've still not got Blork in the bin, have they? No.
Nope.
Excellent. Right. Okay. My thoughts are we put Data Raven on R&D and then install Advanced Oaktown. Make them into running server 1.
I think I would install Advance the Oak Town and keep the ice in hand for now. If you want it anywhere, you would want it on server 1.
Okay.
But you don't have the econ to res it and also fire the prize sack.
Yes. What other lines have we got here? Or do you think it's pretty stone cold that that's what we do? My concern with that play is that they're on 15 credits. They've run first click, pay through the trace.
So we haven't really lost any tempo from installing and advancing the agenda because you're making money with it. And all the tags that they would have to clear would lose them so much tempo that then you could start setting up that GFI score.
Yeah, sure.
And if you get that GFI scored, you basically won the game because you have an Atlas token.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll tell you what, this is.
And they still don't know that we have. Pardon me?
Sorry, I missed that.
Oh, they still don't know that we have too big to fail in hand, too. So we have a lot more money than it looks like we do.
Yeah. I was just saying, this is absolutely edgy seat Netrunner, isn't it? It's
so fun. Argus is the most fun Netrunner.
It's so cool. It's really cool.
You just have to give them a hard decision, like pretty much every turn of the game.
Yeah. And you got, I haven't played Argus, bar, just, playing a couple of games to see what it does. I've never played it any sort of length of periods of time. And you just got to be so brave, I think. Already just, playing one game, 5 turns or whatever, it's, I would have been much, much, much more conservative and not getting good draws. I would have just slowly lost the game. bar and mistake from them.
Yeah, I think playing Argus is a different mindset than playing a lot of other corps. I think sometimes I play other corps badly because I'm playing it like it's Argus.
Right, sure. So as I've been playing a considerable amount of RP, Hippo Baby type RP. So
what type is that?
like Hippo Baby, so it's there with the Prana condensers and House of Knives.
Okay.
And I've got it with political dealings and Project Yakuda and MCA, and so it's not dissimilar to playing a CTM list.
Okay.
But then it's got the kill with House of Knives into Prana as your econ engine, and it's really cool. But it's so different to this, you know, because you feel you've got time to breathe and you can take turns off if you need to.
Yeah, I feel like Netrunner has gotten very fast.
Yeah.
Like every click, every turn matters. One of my games at Worlds, I was playing against Titan, and I had a Deuces Wild in hand and 1 credit, and I just felt like I never even had the click to click for a credit to play the Deuces Wild. Like that's just like how tight the clicks were.
Did you win?
No.
Oh.
I didn't. It was kind of a heartbreaker because I got to 6 points and they were on 5 points with all of the 2-pointers out of the game. So I should have won that, but they found both hostiles before I did.
Ouch.
I just had rough accesses at the end there. Probably I should have dug harder for Stargate, but yeah. It was an interesting game for sure.
Yeah. So how did you said you're on APOC? We were on APOC Val for Worlds.
Yes.
Yes. So how did that matchup pan out? Because that seemed like a good matchup to me for APOC Val.
What's a good matchup for APOC Val?
Titan, or is it terrible?
Yes, I think Titan is favored in that, but it was just frustrating that I got so close and then lost it. Okay, they're coming in.
So we don't play into this, do we?
No. So they're gonna have to clear 3 tags or 2 tags and the 2 meat damage. Oops, my daughter's alarm clock is going off, so I do have to run.
No, Laura, thanks ever so much for joining. I'll
yeah, it was really fun. So I'm just gonna I'll be right there. I'm just gonna hit mute and keep observing. But
no, of course. I'm sorry for everything that's going to happen. I'm sorry for everything that's going to happen over the next 10 minutes. But
I'll be excited to see what happens.
No, great. Thanks for your time again, Laura.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, then. Thanks. Bye. Well, this is pretty terrifying. So we're down 3 points to 2. I'm talking to myself. There's no problem at all. Runner Econ is, so they're going to be on 15 credits, but they've got to clear 3 tags. Taking 2 me. Hit a knife up worse. There we go, that's what happened, right? They've gone through two of the three I've had worse now. I've got 2 tags. So they're going to be down to 12 credits with a click left. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? I'm going to grab a drink. I'll be back in a moment. Click for credit, last click, right. Blimey. So the price is still there. Didn't trash it. To make us res. That's right. I want to jam Atlas. I think I'm too poor.
I'm back for just a sec. So I see that they took the agenda and cleared tags.
Yeah, they only had to clear 2 because they hit an I've had worse with the. Hi.
Say okay. You can say hi.
Hey. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Other people are saying hi to you.
Well, that's nice.
So I liked your idea to jam the Atlas.
Yes.
And I think you do need the too big to fail now.
Yeah. So go with that first, then that, then that.
I would put the. I think that's fine. I would put the other Raven on, but
How much so?
I'm trying to decide because now that they know it's an agenda, maybe not.
Yeah. I'm not sure why they left the price deck there. Oh. And they got book in the bin. So I think they still got to be afraid of econ warfare hard to use. There still could be. We only just drew the data raven. And we haven't really had a window to play hard to use yet. I don't think they're going to contest this down to 2 clicks. I think it would be a brave move. Could be wrong. And the fact that they installed casts as well suggests to me that they're taking the turn off. I think they're just deciding whether to run. Yeah, I think it's brave. Maybe they're deciding over an install. I suppose what's nice is they can't bounce any turning wheels at the moment. No value in it. And they've still got to score. Still two more agendas. Excellent. Do we score with a counter? We've got GFI in hand. We need audacity. So I think we draw. No, it makes no difference, does it? Do we score with a counter? What are we doing with that last click if we don't score with a counter? Audacity to hand counter. Audacity. We don't score with a counter. Don't think. I think we jam the price at here. I'm going to put the price deck in there, mate. I think this is a cool play. Might be trying to be a bit too cute here, but I think this is cool. I think they have to run server 1. I think they have to with the Atlas counter.
Hey, I had to walk away for a few. What did you put in server 1 there?
Second price deck.
Wonderful.
That was really clever, wasn't it? That was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I thought so. I'm the nard whether to get the second Atlas counter. They've got to run server 1 here because I've got the counter. I could get an audacity and score out next turn.
No, it would need to be single advanced.
Single advance.
Like if it were a GFI.
Okay. It was the right thing to do. Probably. Sounds like it was. I don't envy the runner here. Obviously, I can't see that hand. It would be really nice to draw a Hearted to News next turn, I think. Unless we Atlas counter. Oh, that's a line. Probably a bad one. Use the Atlas counter for Hearted to News, which would give us a window to install GFI. Single advance. The thing is, there's still 11 ice in the deck, so over 1 in 3 cards in R&D are ice. Seeing 1 NGI. Rashida. I haven't seen a hedge fund, 3 hedge funds in there. R&D's not densely populated at the moment. 50% of agendas are out already. Rebirth into Ed Kim. I see. That is a line. And they've stolen GFI. And they've hit, I think, the 3rd I've had worse off of meat damage in the game. Just 3 for 3. That's what it's in the deck for. Feels bad. They're trying to knock out. We're trying to dig. So both high profile targets are gone. I think it's 2 in the deck. Yeah, so we've got no more kill option available to us, but they don't know that. Don't want to put Data Raven on central, but I'm gonna have to. Maybe I'll use the counter there. Jamming server 1. Data Raven, they've got 13 credits. All breakers in the bin. They're a match point. I need to engineer a window here. I need border controls. I don't know if I need to ice HQ here, but I just don't think. If I draw an agenda, got no way of moving it anywhere. They're trashing all my operations. I think there's as much information dig as anything else. Get a counter on turtle. There's that wonderful archive slug. I think we have to remember in this game, making excuses for myself. Now, how bad a start we had, not seeing ice early. Walk over this. hitting 3, I've had worse off the 3 steals. That was good hand management, I suppose, on that part. What are you thinking? I'm just going to ping a test here. I can't see them in any great rush to win. They know that it's double price deck here now. Raise. I'm not too worried about either of these cards. I don't think. I think I need to do something with the Atlas counter, get something in there. On my problem is. Just feels like a very lost position. Maybe a purge next turn. Depends what I draw. Ten tags. This is hard by yourself. Oh, hi. What do I do?
Hey, I don't think you can win at this point with both high-profile targets gone, unless maybe if they don't know that those are your only high-profile targets.
Yeah.
But probably they do.
Think I draw and put border control on the remote and.
Yeah, I don't think purging does anything right now. I think drawing for something to jam and trying to, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Make them waste some time and money, and maybe you can eke out a scoring window.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I think that's kind of the best bet. But if they stop clearing tags, then you're kind of out of luck. Although if they stop clearing tags, then they lose their turning wheel. So maybe they'll just keep clearing tags just for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then obviously turning wheel's the target if they do fight a tag. Priority.
And I think the big mistake we made was discarding the second high-profile target. I know never to do that, and then I do it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think there was any other. What was second econ warfare the right discard, or too big to fail?
I guess that, or tossing an agenda, but that's bad too. We didn't have any good options.
No.
But yeah.
Sometimes the dice roll that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the rebirth into Kim?
If they go really poor running this, trashing all the prize decks, clearing all the tags, then maybe you can push out a GFI. But it's a pretty big if at this point.
Yeah. So I don't trash the border control, do I? Until I've got an agenda in there.
No. I would res it to. Oh no, because it wouldn't even make them install the paperclip. I would still res it.
Yeah. Just to try and eke out some money from them.
Mm-hmm. There's still another Atlas in play and 2 more hostile takeovers, so it's also possible to just win without the remote. at this point if you get really lucky draws.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Better lucky than good.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think their decision is here? They've got.
I think they have to decide if they want to bother with the remote or just try to unload the turning wheel first on R&D and hope to win before they have to decide whether to run the remote.
Yeah. Can they not just run? That's what I was thinking. Can they not just run turn 1 R&D, hope for a win, access 3 cards, hope for a win, and then go from there?
Yeah. Or they might be thinking about whether they can get 2 more counters on the turtle before running R&D.
So archives, R&D, break for 3.
Yeah, they should probably just let the Mausolus fire and look at 3 cards and probably win.
Yeah, they've got enough time and money to react, haven't they? So
Yeah. So there are 5. Let me pause.
no, of course. So things are bleak, but
It's nice that they didn't run archives first, so they have to let the Data Raven fire.
yeah,
I mean,
we wasted a click and 2, 4 credits. Did you see they hit the third I've had worse off the third steal as well?
yes.
3 for 3. Fire.
Okay, they're just going tag me. Interesting. Yeah. Oh no, they boosted. Okay. I misread the log there.
So I think they knew that was Rashida, but felt they had to check it anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
I
think, yes, you do want to fire these.
Yeah. So I don't know how many sim hacks they're on, but I imagine there's a chance of just 1. Down to 9 credits and 3 tags. Are they going to clear their tags? Are they now going to try and win on R&D? They could go archives. Run through most of this. Conservative. Right. Okay. Just got no money. I've got no money. I can't. Right, think through the list. If they're on 3 credits, they're going to be up to 7 credits at the start of next turn. I think I needed that to be something other than a fast track. Don't have to do anything else there. But I think there's sort of a chance that I lose here as well. I don't know if it's a line or not. I haven't played it enough, but it feels bad. But using the Atlas counter to grab Too Big to Fail. Put me on 7 credits. What am I using the money for? I'm using money to advance agendas, and I don't have any agendas, so I can take a turn off. The line has got to be archives, R&D, bang bang turning wheel. 1 in 5. First one is 1 in 5. 3 in 5. 3 in 25. The probability is not good without pen and paper. Five agendas and 25 cards. So the first card they hit is 1 in 5 chance of an agenda. Second card they hit is they miss. Second card is a 5 in 24. Third card. Five and 23. Yeah, I think together. 3. 1. 3 and 5. Feels a lot. 3 and 5 chance of hitting. 60%. Just under.
So you still haven't found a hard to lose, right? Or have they trashed one as Ed Kim?
No, they haven't trashed one. I haven't found one. Would have been nice there, wouldn't it? So
yeah.
I've got the fast track.
It was hard to decide what to do. Drawing for answers, maybe.
But we had no money. That my thoughts were we didn't have any money to do anything with the answers. But then the Atlas token for Too Big to Fail, so we could do something with them. But nothing felt particularly good there.
Depending on what you find. Yeah. Sorry for the.
No, that's okay.
Voices here.
It is a very exciting game.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't help it to just keep jumping back.
No. I'll just say thanks again for Laura joining. It's really great. It's a really great thing about protesters is the fact that there's people in the group that are willing to just teach, and there's people in the group that want to learn. There's people that have things to teach but want to learn other things, and it's just a shared pool of knowledge. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And hopefully one day there'll be something that I can teach to people that isn't RP, which may or may not be rotating in December. Who knows? We need spoilers soon. I'll take a moment just to remind everyone that hopefully in December, System Gateway and System Update are coming out. That'll be 70 new cards, new not seen before cards, and 70 previously rotated or kept cards with the Samsung cycle leaving. They took a turn off. Okay. Afshar. Can we do something with Afshar? Can we do something with Afshar? Because things are looking bleak here. Real bleak. They've now got Hippo. So what they might do is run through so they're basically locking HQ now. So if I put it on HQ, archives, they can run R&D, break his Hippo to trash, and then they've got R&D down as well.
I think you want anything you can jam in the remote. Try to make them
So
catch that.
just draw again.
Yeah, the Afshar is kind of useless.
Is it? Right.
Hey Ed, I just joined.
Hey, good evening, Cable Carnage.
Yeah, I just finished watching Bake Off, so now I can actually focus on this.
Oh, perfect. You've come at a difficult time in the game. We had a rough start. It then looked okay for a moment, and then they rebirthed into Edward Kim and trashed our second high-profile target and stole GFI.
Okay, do you have any recursion, or are you completely out of high-profile targets?
No, we have no high-profile targets. We have no recursion.
Okay.
We're out of Rashidas. We're pretty lost. What we're trying to do is wait for a mistake, 2, make them think that we've got a third high-profile target, 3, try and waste their money because they've used a lot of their econ already, and they're going to have to install. Maybe they won't. There, here we go. So I think their line is 2 runs on archives, run on R&D, empty turning wheel with Hippo trash after breaking Morseless, and then they've got open R&D worst case.
Yeah, that's really tough for you.
Yeah, but I've still got the Atlas counter, so I can lower the density slightly at least.
Yeah, but they kind of know. I don't know. This is about the point. I think that very few Arguses that run more than 2 high-profile targets. This is the point where floating a tag is bad, because then you'd probably trash the wheel, but you're quite broke. What are you thinking of getting?
I've got to take an agenda, right? They're on 5 points.
I don't think you can take an agenda because then they just won't use the turning wheel here. They'll turn around and use it on HQ instead.
Okay. So I don't take anything. and I just hope it holds and just shout hold at the computer.
Yeah, I don't think you can take anything.
Okay.
Because then they could just come get it in your hand instead.
No, sure.
Yeah.
If it were last click, maybe. Oh, they didn't use it. Did they forget?
Might have forgotten there.
Maybe they want to come sweep your hand, and that's fine.
Yeah, we'll allow that. So Laura's jumping in and out. She's got the kids, but
I guess that much.
Yeah. Wow. Don't know what they're scared of. I mean, that's not doing anything for us. That's not doing anything for us.
You just double advance and like.
Yeah.
Maybe draw a card, double. Draw a card. Yeah, that does nothing. Just double advance it.
I think I'll lose Afshar and Dates Raven here.
I think the Raven is your best dice. I personally would keep it.
Okay. Lose the other two. Even the hedge fund.
Let me think. So I don't think you'll ever have a time to purge. So essentially, your ice is mostly like any ice you res is blank except for Raven and border control.
Yeah.
Like so, yeah, maybe binning the ice is right, but I'm not sure.
Chances are we lose on R&D this turn, but
There's a good chance, but the thing here is, as Kim, you're gonna get R&D locked here. So essentially, you're kind of forced to draw. So what Havvy will do probably is just check R&D for a single access, or maybe using 2 turning wheel counters,
yeah.
and just let the agendas pile up in HQ. Because the remote holds ish, but not amazing.
No.
But as I said, the issue with the combination of Batpub and Amokua, your ice is kind of weak right now. Like
Yeah.
a mouse horse might be okay, but like the only ice that's really relevant, I think, right now are
Border
it's those
control
two. It's
and that one there. Okay.
Yeah.
So we lose those two.
Yeah, let's do those two.
Cool.
I mean, you still have quite like relative to the number of agendas stolen, you still have like your R&D is not very dense.
Not massively, no.
Yeah.
If they weren't on 6 turning wheel counters,
Yeah.
I'd feel a lot better. So how much Argus have you played yourself?
I've played a little bit, so I'm not the biggest expert. So like I trust, like if I'm saying something wrong, I trust Laura would jump in and says like I'm an idiot for whatever. So it's weird because Data Raven is both a bit of a liability in that Havvy can just bounce off Data Ravens.
Yeah.
But also like you're in a situation where it's actually an ice that is slowing the runner down.
Yes. Yeah, they have to spend to get through it.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Yeah. Okay, they're going for the bait.
Okay.
I'll just break that normally.
I'm so surprised they're going for this when you're on 1 credit. It just seems like an obvious NGO.
Yeah. I wonder if you actually pop the border control
I
here.
think I do. Without resing, obviously.
Yeah, without resing, yeah. Because I think it means, it essentially means you can get to a situation where you can trash that turning wheel.
Yeah. I pop this, don't I? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I think you do. Do you have any other? Do you still have some border controls in your deck?
There's 3.
Okay.
So yeah, 3
Okay.
border control.
Yeah, and how many have you seen so far? Just one?
Just 1.
Okay, so that's your fine, I think, for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, the hard part of this game was we only saw 1 ice in the first 15 cards, and it runs 14 ice, which is quite tough. So.
Yeah. Okay, cool, going for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, action before access. Oh, there you go. And you definitely use that price, eh?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So they've got to run. I think their line here is whatever it is. They've still got the opportunity to run R&D for 4 cards.
Yeah. So the question, okay, so I think now they unload the turning wheel counter and going tag me,
which is really nice.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
But it also means your ravens do nothing now. Like your raven, like essentially playing with eyes.
Sure. But the point Laura made just before you joined was we can win without installing in the right.
You can
score from hand.
I think this is considering if they unload the turning wheel. Interesting, they didn't unload. Losing fast track is probably the worst loss we could have had here.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. Now they unload here.
Yeah, they have to unload because otherwise that turning wheel is gone.
Yeah.
Like you can't let it live. And there's a good chance you do so.
Yeah, of course. Wow. Wow. In the chat.
Okay.
Hype. Right. Now what do we do?
Okay.
We've got 3 dead ice. Horton.
Have they got Black Orchestra in the bin?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to draw.
Don't forget to trash the turning wheel.
Oh yeah,
you're
right. Trash resource. Thank you ever so much, Laura. Right. I think we. Oh no, I don't know what we do now.
So now you just have to find a hostile, the Atlas, and the Audacity before they do.
Yeah. Sure.
Easy.
Right. So do I put Horton on R&D? I feel like I should.
How many? So they saw 5 cards of R&D or 4 cards of R&D?
1, 2,
4
3,
cards of
4.
R&D. So you actually probably have a few turns. So.
But remember, they fired their kiln trigger, and we don't want to lose Audacity. So Audacity could be in the next 3.
Yeah.
I want to stick. My thoughts are: we stick Horton on R&D just as a tax, and we play hedge fund.
I would draw a card because you're if Audacity, I don't know. Like in my mind, your cards are not.
Oh.
Go ahead. Only how.
I'll give it 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Sorry, what I was going to say is I don't think you can ever purge out that turtle, so I don't think any of that ice really does anything. So I think just trying to draw and find the pieces before they do is your best bet.
Yeah, sure.
That does nothing.
Yeah.
Because they can only single access at this point.
Yeah.
There's still 1 card on top that they've seen.
Yeah. Actually, you've probably been hard hitting user.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because it literally does nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. You weirdly, what you want now, in a way, is to minimize the number of operations in hand. I'd say.
Yes. Yeah.
Because essentially they'll run it for them. Running issue is free. Like they've gone tag me,
Yeah. But for them,
or
there's no point running HQ anymore. But there's no. Okay, so there wasn't an operation on R&D.
yeah. Like and here you actually reveal to them that you don't have a way of flatlining them because you would have just fetched it with Atlas and flatline them.
Yeah.
I said the Ravens do nothing. So I wonder if it's actually worthwhile overwriting the Raven on HQ with Afshar. But I mean, like, once you've drawn a bit, because now the Raven does nothing, but Afshar does. Like, Afshar has 3 credits to break, with the Bapos has 2 credits, so you siphon money away.
Yeah. I think that's what it's about now. So they've lost, or they've gone through 3 dirty laundries, 3 bravos. The draw's gone. 1. They've still got 2 sure gambles, but that goes on R&D, right? A draw, that goes on R&D, that goes on HQ.
Yeah, and you can overwrite the Raven. Before overwriting the Raven, just give 2 more tags off the Raven. But yeah, drawing, I think, because okay, drawing once is fine. Okay. Okay, you definitely like in my mind. I think you override the Raven with Afshar. I don't know. Hang on. I wonder if it's actually better to play hedge fund here, because fundamentally the border control is a 1 credit tax, or actually they only need to deal with actually 1 subroutine, so the border control is actually not a real tax, and you can't, like, if you just pop it.
Yeah.
Like, you're missing combo pieces.
Yeah, sure. Right, fine. Yeah. I get that.
Oh
that'll
my
do.
god. Yeah, no, they're just going to full tag me.
We're on 3. Yeah.
Yeah, you got 3.
Hold.
Okay, you're holding for now.
Server update in 30 minutes, by the way.
Okay.
It's going to jump on JNet. Res here. Yeah.
Yeah, you res it. Yeah, you res it.
The whole point
You res it for 2 credit tax. That's the point here.
Yeah.
And they hit Audacity, you cry.
Yeah. If it
Everything
hit
else is-
Audacity on these.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horton, yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Such a crazy game.
Yeah.
I've got the sweatiest palms. Oh, go again. So it's 2 credit tax, but really it's a 1 credit tax because of the 1 bad pub.
So it's a 3 credit task because I need to break, lose 2. So it's still
Okay,
it's a 2 credit tax. I counted it back.
Sure. Yes.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. I think HQ is your safest server.
Okay. Border control on HQ. Atlas
I
counter.
wouldn't use the Atlas counter yet. I would draw first.
Okay. Draw.
I would draw again, actually. Personally, I think.
What? Why? We're just lowering the. No. Yeah.
Mausolus, the only sub that's relevant is the damage sub.
1 net, yeah.
And there's a 14 strength turtle because they've not tagged me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not sure now.
Border control on HQ. On R&D.
I'm actually thinking of whether the best play now is Econ Warfare. Like you could, like I'm thinking about it. There's no way for you to like prevent anything from running R&D. You can at most prevent 1 access.
Yes.
But with the Econ Warfare, you suddenly cut down the number of HQ accesses you can give Havvy right now.
Sure. That's a really clever line.
It doesn't really cut down the number of HQ accesses because it doesn't end the run if they don't lose 2.
Oh yeah, true. Actually, yeah, that's a very good shout.
They break for the bad pub and then lose nothing.
Yeah.
I
But
think drawing 1 more time. You just gotta find find the stuff before they do.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything.
Trash Autumn.
Keep the ice, trash the operations, I think.
Yeah.
Including hedge fund. That goes. That's nice.
Audacity definitely stays. I would actually, trashing hedge fund is a good shout.
Yeah. And
Mausolus does little right now. I think
Yeah.
Mausolus, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The point now is why Econ Warfare, and I think Laura has a good point, is if you do install border control on HQ and then Econ Warfare, then suddenly you've made HQ that much, like, they can't, suddenly you can't just run HQ on bad pub, which you can right at the moment. Yeah.
So I'm wondering why.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I would have been tempted to use the Atlas token and the Audacity at the beginning of last turn.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to worry about the Audacity being trashed out of hand or the Atlas being stolen out of deck, and then it's just a race to draw the last hostile.
Yeah.
That was a close game.
Yeah, closer than the score looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think the biggest mistake was that we discarded the first high-profile target.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
Well, we're all going to jump in overview now and discuss the game. So thanks very much for joining.
Thanks for letting me join. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really good. We do it every week. We try to do some American times as well, sort of a bit more US friendly when the kids have gone to bed or people have finished work. So
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, something to look forward to. It's every Tuesday. So
bye.
Thanks ever so much for joining today, Laura. Right, we'll jump over to overview and we'll have a little chat.
Sorry, I think Laura was right there that the play that might have not been drawn might have been just fetch Atlas, Audacity out Atlas, and then just pray.
How are you doing?
Yeah, that was a game of Netrunner. That was very stressful.
The play that I was looking at towards the end there, when you were just clicking for cards, was sure that you had 3 cards within the run on them, and just installing them on all 3 centrals, playing hedge fund, hoping that you don't die, and then just purging out and sticking everything on an actual tax.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a lot you could do there.
Yeah.
Hi, it's the runner side.
Hi, Rob side. Hey, Chris.
How's it going?
Hey, Ian. Ian.
Yeah. I was saying during the game, Ed, when you scored the Atlas with only 1 counter on it,
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, I would have just pushed for the second counter, and then again later on you had 1 advanced Atlas and you double advanced, scored it, and then installed a Hortum. And I was just saying again, I would have just advanced the Hort. I would have just advanced the Atlas and just scored the Atlas with the extra counter, because there was a line at one point where 3 Atlas counters won you the game without any interaction, and you just decided to go for the 1 counter, and I think 2 was close enough. So
Yeah, it was. I mean, you're talking about. I think we had 5 key decision points through the game. So if I try and go through them chronologically from the start, we double Rashid. So we saw 1 ice in the first 15 cards, which was, challenging, but it happened. So double Rashid, just try and draw into more ice. And the second discard, we had to discard the second high-profile target, which we now think was a mistake.
So I think at the beginning of the game, you only had the 1 ice, like you were saying, and you installed Rashida, cracked the Rashida, drew up to 9 cards, and then installed the Rashida again. And I think that was incorrect.
Yeah.
Like you were just churning through your deck trying to find ice, and you should have just accepted that you could only have the Data Raven, and you should have just jammed an agenda in the remote, I think.
Yeah, I think arguably, I think it's a bit of a coin flip, but I think you're probably right there. And I think that's one of the points where we spent the most amount of time on that was, do we jam an agenda now that we're probably going to lose, but we'll set them back a lot of time?
Well, I think jamming the agenda is really powerful overall anyway, because even if they steal it, they set themselves back so much, then you're able to then use that as a window to buy yourself more time, whereas Rashida speeds you up, but you just don't have the clicks to play all your cards.
No.
So I think slowing down the card flow is more important. I think at that point, you have to play it as a tempo deck rather than just a pure rush deck, and you control the flow of the game rather than just being as fast as possible. And you spend your first couple turns slowing down a little bit in order to then speed up on turn 4-ish, and then really push through, rather than what you did, which was attempt to churn through your deck really fast so that you could protect yourself. And that was you were going fast so that you could go slow, and it didn't kind of make sense.
Yes. Yeah, I would say, I don't disagree. I would say that had the second Rashida come up trumps, we'd be saying something different. And I think we were unlucky not finding any ice on the second Rashida. I think
you found the Hortum on the second Rashida, didn't you?
Did we? Well, let me scroll up. Was it? Was it the
I don't remember
Morseless?
exactly.
Morseless, sorry,
I don't remember exactly when you found each one, but I know you found the Hortum pretty shortly after that. But that's the thing. After the first Rashida was obviously fine.
Yeah.
If you've got a Data Raven Rashida start, you go for it because it's good for you no matter what. But when you hit that 9-card hand where you had to play 3 cards out and then discard a card, this is feeding into this late game situation where you didn't have the resources to punish the runner.
No, definitely.
And without the preemptive action in the deck, especially because some decks have 1 or 2 preemptives in them, some of the Argus decks, so then you can play really aggressively in the early game like this, get the Atlas counter, and then even if they Stargate you, or Eddie Kim you, or embezzle you, or whatever it is, or you just misclick and discard all of your high-profile targets. Like, if you lose all of your high-profile targets, you have the opportunity of going preemptive them back in, you're dead next turn.
Yeah.
Like, find that again, or you're dead. And because you didn't have that out, I think you needed to slow down the card flow because you were going to run out of resources.
Yeah. I think it was retrospectively a big turning point in the game. And after that,
I think it probably at the time. I think looking back, it is probably one of the main things that probably like made the game fall over a bit. But at the time, it probably was like a bit here or there. But I think I would still say, it's quite. I would still say it was in favour of not playing the secondary shooter, but just for.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's just I don't think ice is very powerful in Argus at all. Like, you have one piece of ice and then you're like, okay, I'm happy.
Yeah, sure. Once Turtle got to 5 points, there was no point in doing anything with ice.
Yeah, there was
really.
Like at that point you had 2 paths. You had try and find a win condition and try and audacity out this Atlas, like pull them through these, these face down cards that I'm installing that aren't going to win them the game until eventually I find a window. And of course that just never actually happened.
No.
But you had either that or you had just slow right down, install ice that says end the run on every single server and slow right down. And of course, slowing down in Argus is a really difficult decision to make because at that point you start getting situations where you draw into a hostile and now you're scoring a hostile takeover in your Glacier deck, and that just doesn't jive.
No.
Your opponent's now running through all your ice for free again.
Yeah.
So I can understand why that decision is difficult to make.
And I like the decision at the end of the game, once the turning wheel was down, to just kind of draw for the win. Because with all the bad pub and with the turtle, I don't think there was any way to get back the Argus threat. We knew that you only had 2 HPT, just because if you had a preemptive or something, you would have Atlased for it anyway.
Yes.
So we were totally confident just slamming centrals. And by drawing, what it does is it makes the runner split up the attack instead of just locking R&D. And so ideally, and it didn't happen, but ideally you would have overdrawn and got that hostile, and then suddenly you're on game point because you could just Audacity from nowhere.
Yes, exactly. And I had Audacity in hand as well.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, we were really worried about that. We were worried that your double advanced card, when you had 1 credit, was a GFI.
Yes.
Because we thought that maybe you were being cheeky and trying to Audacity that GFI out from low credits so that we wouldn't bug you on that remote.
Yeah, that was kind of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a patch
the
where
bluff was good, but we just weren't nervous enough about the punishment.
Yeah, so there's a patch in the middle of the game, not sort of making excuses, where at the start I was with Laura, and Laura was telling me, no, you have to just be aggressive, just be aggressive. Yeah, this is what you do with Argus. And then in the middle, sort of jumping in and out with assistance, and it got a bit scary. But I really liked the second the remote play.
Oh yeah,
that was my favorite.
It kind of made the remote into it almost made the remote impenetrable. Obviously, Havvy proved it wasn't. But
yes, yeah.
No, that's a great play. Face downs are generally not immediate threats in Argus. You're not super nervous about it unless it's advanced. But especially since you had already fired 2 Rashidas at that point. Yeah. But it's a good enough bluff when you're up 2 points that it has to be dealt with.
Yeah, and especially when you've already got the 1 Atlas counter in the first place. Having the Atlas counter, I think, makes every single face down just look so much more threatening because suddenly your opponent can just go, here's another Atlas, and now I'm nearly on game point. Yeah. And you're just like, you're sat there as a runner going, how do I even win from this position? My opponent can just fast advance something out of HQ. They can draw into a hostile and then score the hostile, and now suddenly they can win out of HQ, and there's nothing I can do about it. So like having that Atlas counter, I think, makes that face down threat just super, super high. But yeah, sadly didn't pay off.
Ian, congratulations on the win. Just clearing my throat, a bit of bitterness in there. What was your thoughts on the game from the runner side? We talked a lot about the corp side.
Yeah, you were looking for hard credits, not a discount on your installs, and I think you made some really good decisions in how you managed to manage your money. There were a few plays you made which I was skeptical of, and then like you'd do something else, and then suddenly you'd be on 12 credits and you'd made a run, and I was like, how have you managed to like get into this situation where you're applying pressure and still managing to stay in double digits? Like,
that's
and
bravado.
making progress, and it was I think there was some really real. I don't know. I can't pinpoint a specific play you made, and I go, that's the play that I think the game hinged around. I think it was just consistent all the way through, and I think that was the important part. So did you say quite a typical anarchist game?
Yeah, as in you're applying pressure, you're face checking ice. Because I did face check ice quite a bit.
Oh, I can hear you now, Ian. Hi.
Oh,
Hey.
awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I think applying that pressure, at times breaking, ice with my face, which is fine.
Yes.
And I think applying that pressure, I was really happy at how that runner deck performed. And yeah, as Chris said, Bravado, what a hell of a card that is. I just want to see him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying at the time, I was like 9 influence on Bravado, and it's like it paid out. I think it paid out 4 credits twice, and I think it paid out 4 credits twice and 3 credits once. And like one of the times it was a dirty laundry when it was an unsuccessful run, and that was like. It just allowed, like, because that was during the face check, actually. I think the face check of the Data Raven was a Bravado run, wasn't it?
Yeah, on the remote,
It
yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah, I think that Bravado, like, versus it being a dirty laundry, really showed how good Bravado was at being a dirty laundry and on a face check, rather than, like, ignoring you gain 1 credit if you pass ice. Like,
Yeah, but
yeah.
It's not just the gamble; it's also an access, right? And so Havvy was able to compress a bunch of clicks with all throughout the game. He was getting so much value on clicks. Every time he zeroed, it was a card and a credit, so it was a proco basically. Every time he bravadoed or dirty laundry, it was an access and money.
Yeah.
So like on that turn when Ed was clicking for credits, we knew that we were winning the value game, which allowed us to be a little more aggressive in terms of farming turning wheel counters. The decision to Ed Kim at that point was easier because we knew that we had made enough money.
Yeah, that was an interesting one that I wasn't like spotting straight away, because I thought I mean at the time when the rebirth came into hand, I thought there was going to be an Afshar going on to HQ. I think it was Afshar. It might have been a different ice, but I thought there was going to be an ice on HQ. So I thought we're going to see here like some bouncing off HQ and then Omar into R&D and just sweep R&D and try to access about 6 or 7 cards and win that way over the next 2 or 3 turns. And then it just never played out like that. HQ stayed open, and then you ended up rebirthing into Eddie Kim, and then you played the Hippo, I think, after that.
Yeah, I was always wanting to use the Hippo, and I had to be kind of restrained on the Hippo a little bit.
Well, that was the thing. Like we were saying before, like the 0 was a card and a credit. A lot of the time, it just hit cards that either you didn't care about because it was patchwork or a Hippo, and that was just not going to come up for a while, or it was actively, a Black Orchestra or a Paperclip or whatever, and it was actively gaining value. And I think the only play I actively disagreed with throughout the entire game, the only one I actively disagreed was the just playing that I've had worse out of HQ on turn 2, I think it was. It's the only play I didn't like, I think.
Well, you had a reason for that, Havvy, right?
Yeah, which turn was that, sorry?
It was like turn 2-ish.
Yeah, that was when you were digging for the stim hack.
Yeah, I was looking for options. I'll be honest with you. I thought I could 0, but it's a 20% chance of hitting it. And I thought, you know what? I actually want options rather than
So
value.
interestingly, I was saying that the 0 is awkward here because if you hit the I've had worse, you draw too many cards and then you're left not being able to use them all and stuff like that. That's where I was at. And I was like, early game, as much as you want to obviously see loads of cards, have loads of options, if you just because it was click 2 that you played it. So if you would have clicked to hit the I've had worse, you end up with 9 cards in hand or something like that. And you just know what to do with all these and stuff. But I mean, it ended up paying off. And obviously you churned through your deck fast enough to not make it work, not make it bad.
I tell you what, the interesting thing is, there's only to somebody mentioned it, is that, talk about the early econ. And I can't remember who mentioned it, but he said, you know what, you've not drawn it to a short gamble yet. I was like, bloody hell, I haven't, have I?
Yeah, I did not notice that at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I only one short gamble. I played the whole game.
Yeah, you played one all game.
That was the thing towards the end as well. I was commenting on how you were kind of shot on econ because you'd seen Dirty Laundry and Bravado, and I still don't think you'd seen a sure gamble at that point. I forgot the card existed. I was just like, what's this shit? Make a run on it.
So I have interest. Was there any cards, any genders in archives at the end, Ed?
No, there weren't. I think we just.
How many was in the HQ?
None.
Because he must have drawn some.
None.
Not really.
No.
None. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is this
for agendas at the bottom. Sorry?
This is maybe a little petty, but Ed, I think the comment of "wow" when we whiffed on R&D was very telling for us, and it actually changed our strategy because we're like, oh, Ed expected agendas in R&D, so that means they're not in HQ.
Yeah,
so
there's one or
whatever. Running HQ after that comment.
That was when there were maybe 2 in HQ that weren't known.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we were poking.
Oh my god, that's another thing. Right at the beginning of the game, you ran HQ about 4 or 5 times in a row and didn't see an agenda, and there were 3 in there.
There were 3 out of 5. Yeah. You went.
That's crazy.
I kept hitting economic warfare.
It was 2 econ warfares. I said to Laura at the time, I said, well, you're meant to play as though you've got 2 econ warfares in hand at all times. Well, they've seen 2. It's just the same one.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I missed 3. That doesn't surprise me. That's kind of how sometimes my games go.
That's inverse bell curve.
That's usually fine for Argus. Like having them in HQ is usually good. Having them in HQ early is fine. It was that later in the game when they weren't coming up, right?
Yeah.
Because
tough.
even if one price set got trashed, the remote was still awkward. The decision to bother to hippo the border control was a thing, but it never happened. But that could have been forced with another agenda, and they stayed down.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's another reason why Ed, why I didn't like the Rashida was because you had these agendas in HQ and you had to get these points into play because you were going to end up in a situation where you go I'm going to put this agenda in R&D into the remote, and your opponent's just going to start running Centrals and steal all the rest of your points. So even if you score that agenda, you can't roll it into the next one. And I think that might be the thing about the second Rashida that I really didn't like, that I wasn't really identifying.
Yeah, sure.
Only I know I'm getting hung up on that a lot, but
no, of course. It's about assessing turning points in the game. The only other thought was dropping an agenda after the second Rashida in archives.
I was commenting how I think the correct discard was the because you discarded an economic warfare early, and then you discarded a high-profile target later.
Yeah.
And I was saying I think the correct discard was the Global Food Initiative instead of the econ warfare, because then you eventually ended up with the Atlas counter and could have gone warfare, hard-hitting news off of the Atlas counter.
Yeah.
I think you were actually I mathed out, and I think you were a credit short because Hoshiko has a link on the flip side. And I think the situation was you put Havvy onto 8 credits, and then hard-hitting news. But because of the link, it doesn't land. But if it did land, Hoshiko's ability would fire and put her down to 7 credits, not be able to clear the tags. But obviously, it ended up being 1 credit short overall. But
Yeah.
So it's probably interesting to talk what I was thinking when I was doing the runs. I was always happy to end up on a turn after hard-hitting news on 2 tags. That didn't bother me because that meant it forced the corpse hand to have 2 high-profile targets.
Yeah. I those are the kinds of numbers I always kind of run and play. I'm like, if you've just drawn both of your kill cards, I've lost. I don't care. I'm not winning this game by being afraid of you drawing both of the same card. That's fine. I think we took some calculated risks, and it's interesting to point out with those agendas because we did sense a flood, didn't we, from the way the agenda's been played in HQ. But there was like, okay, there's nothing in there, fine. It's just been very aggressive.
Yeah. If the agenda flow were smooth, then that would have been better for Ed for sure. But it was really like this inverted curve where you have that great Argus rush at the beginning, which would put us on our toes. Like Havvy was constantly looking out for the HHN math, but after a while, it was just like, wait, we're not getting HHN'd, and we're like right around that total, so it just didn't seem as much of a threat.
That was the other thing as well. I mean, obviously there was the Atlas counter, but all three hard-hitting news were in the bottom 10 cards, or whatever it was, 12 cards.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the bottom 12 cards were like 4 or 5 agendas and all 3 hard-hitting newses, and the convis as well, in fact.
Yeah.
Everything was on the bottom of the deck, so like, the lack of that really early push for points just meant that there was no ability to finish it off.
Yeah, that sounds a bit rough, Ed.
Yeah, it was rough.
Turn?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Meeting adjourned, please.
Oh, I was just wondering if the turn where the second Atlas, instead of getting a second counter, loading a new card into the remote, have you gone over that yet?
Yeah, that was like one of the first things I said. Like both of the Atlases, there was the ability to advance it 1 extra time and then score it, but instead the last click was spent on a different play, and that happened on both of the Atlases, and I disagreed with it both times. I think the value of the Atlas counter is just so much higher than almost any other click you can play. So
that's true, but that second one really threw us off. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, the reaction I had, I was like, "What possible play could you be making here? That's better than an Atlas counter." Because the first one I think was for economy. I think like the first one was like you did that and then you were kind of low on credits, so you tried to gain more credits. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was just so confused.
I think it's worth watching back. Hopefully, I'll get it uploaded somewhere. But watching back myself and Laura's conversation on that, because I think they were probably where we spent the most time talking about it. I think the second one I spent the most time rambling to myself about it anyway.
I think Laura's played. I think Laura's played probably more Argus than. I mean, I don't know about you, Cable Carnage, or are you in fact meeting adjourned? But I think Laura's got to be one of the highest playing Argus players in this whole group. So obviously, if she's like saying she's not sure, then maybe it wasn't as clear cut as it looks to me. But I always play Argus incredibly aggressively. So yeah.
Yeah, no,
I do too. I never would have been able to come up with that play in Argus's shoes of using that click to load in the second price sec. That seems like Laura.
Yeah, that was it kind of reminded me of last week's single advanced Obakata, which was the thing that everyone was talking about.
Wow.
Sorry to bring it back up, but then it was it was essentially the same situation. In that situation, it was a single advanced Obakata. It looks like a 4-2, and it had a Nancy and a border control. And in this case, it was a Data Raven, which is, it's the Anansi of Argus, really. Like if you're going to make a comparison, and then you had the price sec and obviously the Argus trigger. And in the first instance, you ran through it and the border control wasn't fired, and in this instance, the border control was fired. And I think that was greedy. Like firing the border control there, it obviously got the extra tag out of the data raven, but I think in the grand scheme of things, that one tag was nowhere near as valuable as the border control itself for later
so
on,
the
for a like
idea
much more
there-
punishing turn.
The idea at that point, I think we decided we were going to lose. I think we decided we were going to lose once the GFI was accessed as a 1 in 5 from hand.
Right.
So once we knew we were going to lose, it was, can we draw the pieces in the right order and get lucky? And our only way of drawing the game out was trying to tax as much as possible.
Sure, I can see that.
Yeah.
It's just the problem was, I mean, obviously, Havvy didn't know this exactly at the time, because I think there was still some face downs in archives at the time, and I think the second high profile target was still face down.
Yeah.
But you didn't know this at the time. But obviously, you know you've got no teeth, so the tags aren't doing much.
Sure.
And I think if you end up in a situation where Havvy makes these runs and then going to have to go tagged, then suddenly your play hasn't paid off at all. And that is in fact what happened in the end. Like 2 turns later or so, like not very long after, Havvy just went tag me, like looked in archives and went, okay, it's free.
Yeah.
Obviously lost the turning wheel, but
Yeah, it was as soon as I saw the 2 high-profile targets, because that's the thing. I had to assume that it was kind of a similar deck that Argus deck I would run, where it would be 2 high-profile targets.
yeah,
I was like, okay, I'm not worried anymore. Okay, I'll lose a turning wheel at some point.
yeah. You dug 4 cards and was just like you were just like, well, either I win here or Ed has no pressure for the next 4 turns.
Yeah.
So either way, I don't mind losing my turning wheel. So
there's
it makes sense.
play. There's one play actually. I was quite surprised you did, Ed. Was there was a turn where there was 2 presex or pricex, I can never pronounce it, in the server, but you're on 4 credits and you fired both of them. And I thought, that leaves you on 0 credits. I'm not quite sure about that.
That was, not throwing people under the bus. Laura said no, that you fired both of them.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, she had 2
Yeah,
children
no, I
flying
mean, I
over
understand where you're coming from with the how surprising it seemed, but it does fit. It does play back into what Ed was talking about before. Of you're so far behind, your credit total kind of doesn't matter anymore.
No.
There's nothing to spend it on anymore. The only thing you're spending it on is a few advancements, and next turn you're going to click for 3 credits, and that's basically all the credits you need for the rest of the game. So. Because that was the turn where it forced you to go tag me. I think that was the turn.
It was,
I
yeah.
believe. Yeah. So it put you in that situation where you were like, you could have gone, okay, I'm going to clear these tags down to 2 tags and like not die to a potential high profile target, or I could like go tag me. And obviously you chose to go tag me because you knew that there was no threat there. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only known I didn't have was whether you ran preemptive, which could have sucked, if I be honest with you. That would have really sucked with an Atlas counter on.
Yeah. So things that I've learned having not played Argus before, and sort of my questions and things that I personally, I want to play some more Argus, because I have to say, and you'll hear it hopefully when you listen back to my side of the game, how much fun I had, particularly in the first half, with Laura
Absolutely.
saying,
I love playing Argus. It's so much fun.
Yeah, Laura was saying, do this. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I said, no, just do it. It's a bit like, cliff diving. You have to just close your eyes and jump off. That's how the game felt. So I'm definitely going to play some more. I just wonder whether it's worth going 1 boom, 1 high profile target.
Absolutely not.
Why?
Yeah.
This is something like, the thing is about this is like, this deck has been workshopped over the past about 4 years, 5 years, maybe even longer. I cannot tell you when this deck started.
No.
And every single piece of this deck is so refined. There is like the 3rd price sec, the 2nd Afshar, the 2nd Too Big to Fail. They're about the only slots that change in any given successful deck.
I was always and could never help putting in another, or maybe more than one other copy of Audacity, because I was so dedicated to getting the hell out of the game as fast as possible.
Absolutely. The
So,
second audacity is
I
one of
always
the
use
things I
those
go
stats
for.
and more. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one is, do you run Oaktown? Do you run Armed Intimidation? Is like the other thing with that, what do you use the last 2 points for?
I play Time the Public Release because border control is so good.
Yeah, but it's like the rest of the agenda suit. That's like you have 18 points where like, yes, you play GFI, you play
Oh,
Atlas,
sorry.
you play-
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So apparently a lot of people are running one's Subdeck Sandbox instead of Oaktown at the moment.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fair as well. I mean, there's a lot of viruses going around, like whether it's Amakura or Plengy. So.
Yeah. I like the Oaktown. I would stick with the Oaktown.
Yeah, Oaktown's real good. I know there was
You
a version floating
officially-
around just after Worlds 2019 that was 3 Oaktowns, no global food initiatives, which
Oh,
was an
really?
exciting time. Yeah.
I love
Wow.
that deck. I love that deck.
I was never into it. I'm going to hop off the call anyway. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's been really useful. And well played. Ed. It seemed like you had a bit of a rough draw there.
No, it was,
But I
still,
think you
it was
tried
such
it.
an exciting game, though. I mean, sometimes when you're behind, it's exciting, and 1 in 10 times you win, and it's worth it, and you've got a story to tell. So, you know what I mean?
Well played, both of
thanks
you.
for-
See you again.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you.
Night. Anyone else got anything to add before I close off recording?
The quick thing I wanted to add is, so I joined quite late, but there was this talk that you drew into many agendas and you discarded Econ Warfare and HPT. And
Yeah.
I think this is probably more of a general thing about like these high tempo corp decks that draw very hard. As I love playing those, and often in games I will discard agendas, and usually it's like a GFI, or if I'm playing CTM for 15 minutes, it's just like, I don't care about this.
Yeah.
You can steal that. This is fine. I'll just completely out tempo you. You don't like often the runner. Like my goal is, I will speed myself up so much that the runner doesn't really have time to check archives.
Sure.
Or like if they do, it's just a waste of a click. So just in general.
In football terms, in soccer terms, depending on where you are in the world, it's I'll score one more than you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit like that. But like I said, decks that can do that. Argus can do that. CTM can do that. I've done this in ASO as well, where essentially I'm like, fine, I'll just discard a GFI in the ASA, or maybe a Vashon's a bit more dangerous, but like it's perfect. It's perfectly fine, simply because you just go so fast,
Sure.
and you're putting so much pressure on the runner that the runner is not going to check archives until it's like, right, I'm in desperation mode, because usually the decks don't, like, none of these decks are like super recursion reliant,
Yes.
or they're like, still.
It's the classic preemptive, slows you down rather than speeds you up, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember the order, so I have to watch back the game. But I can't remember if Turtle was out when we had to make that decision, and I think that makes a huge difference. Because I think they're more likely to run archives if Turtle's out.
I completely agree. Yeah, it can change. Like this whole equation can change if you do have if they do have Amakua out.
Yeah. There was an order there, and if I'm honest with you, I think the discard was before Turtle was out. But maybe as a general point, there's no tempo loss on the runner side if they run archives to check and gain counter.
Yeah.
Worst case.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's a very good shout. If they like Amakua or anything else that, Paragon or even maybe a Data Sucker counter could change that whole.
Yeah, I think they run DreamNet as well, don't they, in Hoshiko?
Yeah, they could. Yeah, DreamNet is also a consideration.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for joining. I'm sorry you joined late, but hopefully next week.
Well, next week I'm still going to be watching Bake Off, so until that's done, I'm going to be joining late.
Do you not record it?
My girl, I will usually watch it with my girlfriend, and
nice.
we want to watch it together. Yeah.
No.
Last week, yeah. Okay.
As a chef, I don't watch Bake Off. Is that bad? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I think it's fair.
I do enough
pastry-
cooking already. I've got enough cooking in my life without
Yeah.
cooking TV as well. So.
Also, pastry is kind of crazy. Or pastry and baking. It's like, yeah.
Oh, it's good fun. I was a pastry chef for quite a long time, actually.
That's nice.
I started out as a pastry chef. I started out as a chef that worked on pastry, and then I had the opportunity to refine my pastry skills for a few years. Very good pastry chef. So, but now it's more, if I'm lucky, I'll get the chance to do pastry rather than as a head chef. It's more of a, like, do you know what? I'm gonna just go and do some baking. I'm gonna make bread because I fancy it, because I'm allowed to, because I'm the boss. Rather than it being a job. It's more of a luxury, which it's lovely. But it's lovely that I can. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a great evening. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging around. I'll see you around, Ed.
Yeah. You take care, mate. Take care.